have the butterflies going everywhere is now. It is just about time to go racing. The final green flag of the day for round 5. Once again, a solid jump from Carl Schlacht on that number 8 ride, but headed into turn 1. Everybody jockeying for position, and man, look at how close some of this racing is.
You know, we heard from one of the other podiums that there was some actual damage just from some of the bar-to-bar action that's going on.
Yeah.
And of course, we've got some that are really close to that right now. And sometimes it's hard to tell exactly how close they are. Usually they're a lot closer than we can even tell from here. But amazing how the speeds that you're going and the closeness that you are to other riders is just phenomenal.
Yeah, to be a few inches away from somebody going, close to 100 miles an hour, if not more, is absolutely insane. As they come across the stripe there for lap 1, it was Cody Gilmore grabbing the early race lead. Tony Tucker in the number 2 spot. Tony Salima in 3. Clay Braun and Jake Masters, your top 5, with Bray Miller, Elliott, McGuire, Foley, and Schlack, your top 10. That was as they were coming across the stripe headed into turn 1. So plenty, I'm sure, going to change between the first trip around and the second, including that pass right there. Man, that might have been Tony Salima making a pass up the inside.
Went right underneath Tony Tucker right there. That was a picture-perfect pass, and boy, he just slingshotted around and pulling away there. He is looking for Cody Gilmore out there in front.
So jumping around, flashing back and forth between our ground cameras and our Wild Boar Audio live drone. You can see the different line selections. We're getting ready to put our first complete lap in the books. It is Cody Gilmore. Look at this. It's Jake Masters all the way up to the number 2 spot already. So the number 9, after not being able to qualify earlier today due to transmission issues, he's got things figured out and is in the number 2 ride. Tony Tucker in 3rd when they cross the stripe, but now fighting just to hang on to that final podium position as Tony Tucker fights with Tony Salima. Couldn't quite tell if Salima had that pass made or not, and then Clay just behind. So no, there it is, Salima and Braun, 4 and 5, hot on the heels of Tony Tucker, and they're bringing Brendan Foley along with him.
And you've got 2 teammates right there that know how each other ride. They're very comfortable with each other, and they'll use some wind braking right there. They're going to work together to try to pull in Tony Tucker and make those passes and some of the upcoming turns right here.
Ooh, wait a second. Was that one of them off track? Can't quite tell. You can see the frustration from the rider.
It almost looked like a cable broke, because he was on the throttle and it didn't seem like anything was happening.
So I don't believe that was one of the FDR riders. It looks like Salima and Braun still right on the rear wheel of Tony Tucker. So this battle for the final podium position physically on track is still wide open. And like we talked about in that grid walk, don't count Brendan Foley out either. Not necessarily in the same class, but man, that machine undefeated in its class since it started racing with us here at the Bagger Racing League, and it is mighty comfortable running up with the big boys of Tony Salima and Clay Braun.
It is. That's a Hall of Fame bike right there. That's just amazing. That bike, nobody has seen anything but the taillights on that bike ever since it started racing. That's impressive.
A little look over the shoulder there for Carl Schlack, battling with McGuire and Elliott, I believe. That might have been Bray Miller, actually. So look at that. McGuire, Bray Miller, and Schlack side by side as they came across the finish line. It looks like both of them going to find their way around the number 8.
And just look at how close they are in those turns. It's one thing to be bar to bar on a straightaway, but when you're doing that in a curve, especially one that's as technical as some of these are, that's impressive to be able to come out there without any issues. That's incredible.
Yeah, a couple
Look
of
at the
these
closeness right there.
Corners. Yep, making their way back up to turn 7 right now. Whoa, that is, splitting hairs between the two of them, and that's what it's starting to turn into more and more as the level rises continuously here at the BRL. These athletes having to get closer and closer, having to push the limits more and more to be able to work their way towards the front. That's why everybody talking about how important the starting position is, whether that's on the grid or the jump that you get off of the line. And all that's done from there, Dave, has made everything a little bit more intense from the first practice to qualifying to right here during the race.
You know, we've talked about perfect conditions and we've had some what seem like perfect rides. And that's what's going to be necessary because there really is no room for error, especially when you're getting such great competition and you've got that competition mere inches and sometimes even less. You're actually touching the competition in some of these turns. So, total focus is absolutely critical at all times, and often it is just great riding, and whoever makes the first mistake is the one who loses.
So I believe that's Nick Solomon and Tyler Elliott that we're watching on screen there, bar to bar in that bagger class. Like we said, out on track, our Andrews Performance Products bagger GP class, our Pirelli Pro Stock bagger, and our Barnett Clutches and Cables Super Street bagger, all on track right now, as Gilmore, a 137.5 on that last lap. Absolutely blazing lap time, as Masters drops down to a 138.6 as well. So the only two riders sub 140 right now are Gilmore and Masters, as Tony Tucker still hanging strong in that number 3 position in front of Clay Braun, who has made his way around Tony Salima, his teammate.
And Clay Braun is picking up about a half a second a lap right now on Tony Tucker. So he's he's in the hunt and looking to catch up and make his pass on Tony Tucker if he can.
Well, and we heard from Clay Braun earlier today, and yet always got a positive spin on things. The guy doesn't know how to be negative, but man, he has had a wild 2025, finding the ground multiple times, pushing that envelope as well. He's shown that he's got speed. It just seems like he's tiptoed across the line just a little bit, and unfortunately, it's bitten him a couple of times already. Look at this, side by side, headed into turn 10. I believe that is once again Solomon and Elliott still going at it. I think Solomon has the spot, got a little better drive coming out of that corner.
There was a little wobble, though, as he came out of that.
Well, and look at this. This is allowing the number 8
edge.
Carl Schlack, who you see just behind them, starting to creep up into the picture as well. This is going to be a 3-rider battle before you know it, Dave.
Absolutely. And Carl Schlack is somebody he's very technical, he is very calculated, and he is just biding his time, just trying to get it up into strike position.
Well, and we did see the halfway flags right there as well, so kind of letting the race come to him. The number 8 might find himself on the tail end of this battle for that 8th place spot, as it is Gilmore, Masters, Tucker, Braun, and Salima. Your top 5 the last time through. We check in with our Wild Boar Audio live drone, as out front, Cody Gilmore now drops down even lower, a 137.509 on that last, actually a 138.2 on that last lap. So that is just a tick off of his fastest lap, and looks like Masters has dropped down by about a half a second or so as well, as can't tell if that's a lap rider or if Tony Tucker is. Oh, okay, so getting some word from race control here. That rider on your screen right now, the Black Machine, one of our riders graduated from the New Rider Race School this weekend, so that's a pretty cool and unique feature, being able to kind of do some schooling, testing, and getting more comfortable on the track you'll be racing here this weekend. And yeah, we heard the excitement in this guy's voice when he talked to Rob Bidas. Man, how fun it is, how excited he is to be at the VRL, and wants everybody to come out and join them if they can as well. So look at him, he's getting in the mix here. He wants to do some battle.
He does, and he's got an Indian Challenger. There's the first Indian Challenger we've seen in the VRL, so that's exciting to see as well. So just opening up to new types of bikes, and great to see him out there.
Man, look at the maneuvering from some of our leaders, as yeah, that's Matt Denoyer on the number 88 ride, coming out of our New Rider Race School. And man, talk about a hard-learned lesson, man. You got to learn how to be a good lapper, because he was getting caught up by that lead group, and now they have worked their way through, as it looks like once again Tony Tucker under attack.
He is trying to stay out there, and he is, wow. Clay is almost matching him within 100th of a second in difference between their lap times. Very impressive. They are just at it. And you know, Clay, he is going to do everything he can. He has had some disappointments this year, and he's going to try to make up for that if he can.
Well, and this has been when we've seen things kind of go sideways for Clay Braun. It's when he smells blood in the water. He gets a little excited. He pushes just ever so slightly more than he should, and it winds up costing him. So he needs to stay calm in this situation. Maybe got another 2 laps or so before he's going to see a white flag. So Braun needs to stay patient. He's tracked down Tony to this point. Yes, Tony definitely not going to make things easy on him, but the last thing Clay wants is to find himself on the ground once again. As don't believe we saw a white flag there, so still got at least 2 more laps to try to make something happen on Tony Tucker. But
Tony is such a smart rider. He is just incredible, both offensively and defensively, and obviously putting up a great defense right now. And you're absolutely right. Clay Braun he's found that the difference between a cutting edge and bleeding edge is very slight, and
absolutely.
Just one little mistake can end your whole day.
Well, and to that point, it's as Braun was about 0.2 faster on that last lap. You can see maybe got a little more speed than Tony Tucker, but that doesn't necessarily matter. It's one thing to catch up to a rider. It's a whole nother to find a way around it. We talked about how important line selection is. Tucker doing a great job of riding a wide bike right now. Not doing anything dirty, but making things difficult for Clay Braun. Going to make him take the long way around. Going to make him kind of fight off that back foot if he wants to find a way around the Tony Tucker ride. And I'm just glad to see Tony Tucker up in a fight like this. We've seen him have some mechanical issues. Haven't really gotten to see Tucker, the athlete and the racer, show what he's capable of. Is look at that. He's now stretched back out a little bit on Clay Braun.
And Clay trying to slingshot his way back up. This is a true race between speed versus technique. You know, you've got speed versus technique. Clay, just always on the gas, very, very fast. Nobody is a better technician than Tony Tucker, though. So speed and technique on display right here at Bagger Racing League.
So here we go. Final lap of racing as the white flag waves. We flash forward to Fan Hill, Cody Gilmore, and Jake Masters running 1 and 2. Gilmore a 140 on that last lap. Still the fastest man on track as he makes his way into turn 7 for the final time. And this has been pretty much the game plan for Gilmore. Put in that solid qualifying time, get to the front of the grid, and arguably the work is done by the time he gets to the race. Man, he's so smooth off of these starts. He doesn't panic if he doesn't get the best of jumps, does whatever he needs to do, and then just starts putting a little bit of time between himself and the rest of the competition.
He is like the Iceman. He just gets out there and rides his ride, and waits for you to make a mistake. And you're not going to catch him. Just runs perfect runs each and every time, one after another. He knows his lines. He's just a tactician and does a fantastic job.
He's trying to add another win to the books as he makes his way towards what should be a checkered flag. Thumbs up, and it will be. Cody Gilmore grabbing the win. Shout out to Jake Masters as well and that entire team. Bouncing back from adversity earlier today. Wasn't even sure whether or not he'd be joining us on the grid and able to grab that class win and cross the line in the number 2 spot. Looks like Tony Tucker might be able to do it and hang on for that 3rd place spot with Clay Braun just behind. So, man, what a great race. So exciting to watch, and a great way to cap off the day of racing. At least here for the BRL category. We've still got that Adventure Cross coming up later today as well. And don't forget, folks watching at home, we will be doing this all over again tomorrow for round number 6. This is a doubleheader weekend, so some of these riders maybe not quite as comfortable as they want to be. Guess what? They've got all afternoon to get that bike set up, get themselves back in race shape, and get ready to do battle tomorrow.
Sunday's always a great day of racing.
Oh, absolutely.
You get to see all of the adjustments that everybody's made, and people know the track a little bit better. And as you said, they make the adjustments to the machines, and it is going to be some extreme racing tomorrow as well.
Absolutely love it as our riders making their way through as this Schlack battling to the line. Look at this, we've got a drag race coming to the right.
You gotta love that.
Number 8 28, just going to come up short on that, but man, just shows how close, once again, this racing is here in these bagger classes.
How exciting to be in your very first bagger racing league and come around that and see the checkered flag, and there you go on your Indian Challenger. That's got to be a lot of fun.
Yeah. I don't care if I can see through the visor or not. You know there's a smile on the face. You know he is pumped up.
Great ride.
All right, taking a look now at our Alpine Stars top 10. It is Cody Gilmore grabbing the win with Jake Masters in the number 2 ride. Tony Tucker hangs on for that final podium spot. Clay Braun in the 4th place spot with Brendan Foley actually making the pass for 5th. Tony Salima, Jake McGuire, Nick Solomon, Tyler Elliott, and Kurt Wilbur, your top 10 here for round 5. And now we take a look at that race recap here for our Andrews Performance Products Bagger GP, Pirelli Pro Stock, and Barnett Clutches and Cables Super Street Bagger class. Right off of the grid. I mean, slicing and dicing, bar bagging, some moves being made right off the bat. Everybody knows how important those starting positions is, including the number 9 of Jake Masters. And look at that, the 17 not getting the start that he was hoping for. That was that rider that tipped over on the grid just before the green flag. But when they came around the stripe for lap 1, man, Cody Gilmore making some quick moves. Jake Masters jumping up to that number 2 spot. And then the battle was on for the final podium position. Tony Tucker, Clay Braun, and Tony Salima were going at it. All the meanwhile, Brendan Foley quietly starting to creep his way forward as well. Had some great battles between Jake McGuire, Nick Solomon, and Carl Schlacht as well towards the backside of the top 10. That one came all the way down to the checkered flag as well. But up towards the front, cool and calm under pressure, Tony Tucker working those gremlins out and able to put that Tucker Speed Machine into the number 3 ride and fight off some intense pressure from the 951 of Clay Braun. But meanwhile, Iceman up front, not a worry in the world for the 374 of Cody Gilmore, doing exactly what he wanted to do, taking the checkered flag and taking the win. All right, folks, well, it's just about time to kick off the final podium celebrations of the afternoon. But first, we're going to get a quick word from some of our sponsors. We'll be back with more 2025 Drag Specialties Battle of the Baggers Racing presented by Memphis Shades. And once again, a special thank you to our friends over at Newcastle Harley-Davidson for bringing you this live coverage on Racer TV. We'll be right back.